Welcome to the online class offered by Department of Botany, Marthama College, Chingadara. In this session, we are discussing about different topics related to applied botany, which is the open course offered by the department. In this video, we will discuss more about biofertilizer technology. I am Elizabeth George, and we will begin the session. Biofertilizers. Biofertilizers are preparations which contain living cells or latent cells of efficient strains of microorganisms. So we use microorganisms for increasing the nutrient content of the soil so that we can efficiently cultivate plants and increase the yield. So it helps the crop plants to uptake more amount of nutrients. These microbial agents interact in the rhizosphere when applied through seed or soil. So it alters or improves the nutrient content of the soil. It also helps the roots of these plants to absorb various nutrients which are otherwise not easily taken up by these plant roots. Biofertilizers accelerate certain microbial processes in the soil which augment the extent of availability of nutrients in a form which is easily assimilated by plants. So sometimes certain microbes are already present in the soil, and in some cases we provide them from outside. In any way, they increase the efficiency of the plant growth. They either help the plant to absorb more nutrients or they increase the nutrient content of the soil by fixing various nutrients like nitrogen, etc. They also help in solubilizing various nutrients which are otherwise unavailable to the plants. These include sulfur, silica, phosphorus, etc. This application has an added importance in the present situation because there is a larger demand for agricultural products due to the increasing population. To meet the need or demand for these food products, we need to produce larger amount of agricultural products like grains, seeds, roots, etc. So in this account, we intensely produce agricultural products by intensive farming methods, and we also use high yielding crops, advanced agricultural technologies, chemical fertilizers and pesticides so that minimum loss is met. These are the various types of biofertilizers used presently. It includes rhizobium, azotobacter, phosphate solubilizing bacteria, blue-green bacteria, azospirillum, mycorrhiza, which includes ectomycorrhiza, endomycorrhiza, vesicular mycorrhiza, arbuscular mycorrhiza, and vesicular arbuscular mycorrhiza. The images of these microbial agents are shown in the picture. So an increase in the use of chemical fertilizers and pesticides has depleted the soil, nature, chemistry and texture, and also it has increased pollution in air and also water bodies. So it has degraded the various parts of atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and also broken the balance, which is a tender balance present in the biosphere. This can be explained by the removal of various favorable organisms like some insects, pollinating agents, and certain microbial agents which help in the growth of plants. In order to minimize these damages and support sustainable and productive agriculture, the use of eco-friendly biofertilizers and biopesticides was introduced, and this has increased in its demand. Biofertilizers, in strict sense, they are not fertilizers which directly give nutrition to crop plants. They are some microbial organisms which enrich the nutrient quality of the soil. It can be a bacteria, blue-green algae, fungi, etc. Many of these associations are mutually benefiting, that is, it benefits both the microbe and also the plant. And we can see this association naturally occurring in many cases. Use of biofertilizers is one of the important components of integrated nutrient management, as they are cost-effective and renewable source of plant nutrients to supplement the chemical fertilizers which are otherwise used. Biofertilizers or microbial inoculants are basically carrier-based ready-to-use live bacterial or fungal formulations which on applications to plants or soil or by composting pits help in the mobilization of various nutrients. This is done by the normal biological activity of the microbe. Nothing new is done. Some biotechnological applications can be added so that the efficiency of these nutrient mobilizing capacity can be increased in these microbes. Several microorganisms and their association with crop plants are being exploited in the production of biofertilizers. Artificially multiplied cultures of efficient, selected microorganisms play a vital role in accelerating the microbial process in soil. As we said, there are a variety of microbial agents which are capable of providing nutrient efficiently to the plants. But we have to select, or we can select, efficiently acting microbes so that it is providing the maximum amount of nutrition. Biofertilizers can be of various functions like nitrogen fixing bacteria, phosphorus solubilizing bacteria, phosphorus mobilizing bacteria, plant growth promoting bacteria, biofertilizers for availability of micronutrients. Sustainable crop production depends much on good soil health, which is well created and maintained by these biological additives. We have discussed the various biofertilizer types, and as we can see in this picture, we can classify them into heterotrophic bacteria, phototrophic bacteria, and fungi. Heterotrophic bacteria, which depend on other plants or animals for their food, include various nitrogen fixers and phosphate solubilizers. Nitrogen fixers can be symbiotic like rhizobium or frankia, or can be associative, that is, they live in association like Isospirillum. They can also be non-symbiotic, as we see in the case of Azotobacter. There are non-symbiotic phosphate solubilizers like Bacillus pseudomonas, which helps in the phosphate metabolism. Phototrophic bacteria mainly include nitrogen fixers like Azolla, which is symbiotic, and blue-green algae, which can be symbiotic with other plants, or non-symbiotic blue-green algae. Fungal members are basically phosphate solubilizers and mobilizers, and also help in the absorption and efficient use of various other nutrients. It includes mycorrhizae like Glomus, Geospora, etc., and also Aspergillus and Penicillium. So, this is the broad classification of the various types of biofertilizers based on their cell type. This is what we discussed in the picture. Associations like symbiotic association with rhizobium and leguminous plant roots, Anabina and Azolla, Azospirillum with plants, free living fixing bacteria which fixes nitrogen, mycorrhizal association of angiosperm roots, etc. These biofertilizers benefit plant nutrition. They improve resistance against diseases and also give tolerance to adverse edaphic and climatic conditions. They reduce the effects of problems like increased soil salinity, chemical runoff from fields, etc. This is another type of biofertilizer classification based on the function. They are nitrogen fixers, phosphate solubilizers, and organic matter decomposers. Symbiotic ones can be seen in nodules like root or stem or non-nodules. We can also find non-symbiotic nitrogen fixing microbes. Phosphate solubilizers can be either phosphate solubilizers basically or mobilizers, which help in utilizing or moving various phosphates which is present already in the soil. There can be organic matter decomposers which decompose various organic matter present in the soil, and they can be cellulitic or lignolytic, which degrade cellulose and lignin respectively. Now we will discuss in detail various biofertilizers. First one is mycorrhiza, which is a symbiotic association of roots of higher plants with fungal mycelium. Many plants which have seedlings with mycorrhizal associations survive better and grow faster after transplantation. This association increases the uptake of water and nutrients by plants. The fungal member is getting shelter and food from the host plants, and in return the plant is benefited by a better uptake of phosphorus, tolerance to salinity and drought, efficient use of water, and overall increase in the growth and development of the plant. The fungal member in this association is specific for plant groups. Like we have specific fungus which infects the vegetable crops, specific for flowering plants and trees, fodder plants, etc. If we compare the land production between mycorrhizal association and which does not have mycorrhizal association, we can see that there is an increase of 30 to 45% in the production of the land yield if there is a presence of mycorrhizal association. The major function of the association is absorption and uptake of phosphorus from the soil. These are the various images showing mycorrhizal association with the plant root and the fungus. So we can see that there is a white network, which is the fungal mycelium, which is seen as a net covering the plant root. This is the image showing the same amount of Bermuda grass, which is seen with and without mycorrhizal association. We can compare the growth of the plants, and we can see that there is larger growth or better growth and better health for plants which are infected with the mycorrhiza, which is seen in the left image. The second image does not have much association with the fungus or fungal mycelium, and the growth is very much lesser. This image in the bottom shows the network of fungal mycelium or hyphae, which is formed in the soil part of the mycorrhizal association. And this image shows various or differences between a plant which is affected or infected with mycorrhizal association and a plant which does not have mycorrhizal association. Plants with mycorrhizal association survive in higher soil temperatures. They can tolerate soil-borne or root-borne pathogens and also prevent the infection of such pathogens. They can withstand high heavy metal toxicity. Mycorrhiza can be either ectomycorrhiza or endomycorrhiza. Ectomycorrhiza grows on the root surface of the host plant. A well-developed fungal mycelium forms a mantle or the surface of the root from where the fungal matrix penetrates into the root cortex and also the soil. The contact area of soil and surface of the roots is increased, and this increases the efficiency of water and mineral uptake. The fungal hyphae in the soil can convert complex organic matter in the soil to simpler ones which are easily absorbed by the plants. Normally these associations are seen in the roots of pine, oak, peach, eucalyptus, etc. Ectomycorrhizae absorb and store nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium and calcium into the cells of plants. This is an image which shows differences between ectomycorrhiza and endomycorrhiza. We can see that in the case of ectomycorrhiza, the hyphae is growing as a network seen outside the cells, while in the case of endomycorrhiza, the cells penetrate into the plant cells. This is a detailed image which shows the fungal structures seen both endomycorrhizae and ectomycorrhizae. We can see that the ectomycorrhiza forms a net which covers the plant root, and this net is known as the Hartig net. Next we will discuss about endomycorrhiza. The fungus lives within the roots of the host plants. This is mostly seen in orchids and some woody plants. In many cases, the fungus lives between the cells of root cortex and produces temporary hyphal projections. And these projections penetrate into the cortex cells, that is, the root cells. Such structures penetrate the host cells, and it can be in the form of simple vesicles or branched masses. The picture will be shown in the following slides. They possess vesicles for the storage of nutrients and arbuscules for funneling these nutrients into the root system. So vesicles are bulged structures which store these nutrients, and certain penetrating structures known as arbuscules which help in absorption or channeling these nutrients into the plant roots. So compared to other fungal members, mycorrhizal associations are benefiting fungal infections which helps in the improved growth of plants, and that is why we use them as biofertilizers. There can be many types of endomycorrhizae. Basically, they are either vesicular endomycorrhizae or arbuscular mycorrhizae. In mycorrhizae, fungal hyphae exclusively colonize the root cortex and form highly branched structures inside them. And these are arbuscules which helps in channeling or passing the nutrients into the root cells. This is an image which shows the colonization of plant cells by ectomycorrhiza. In the first two pictures, this is a microscopic view and this is a SEM image. Both of them shows ectomycorrhiza seen as network outside the plant cells or root cells. This is endomycorrhiza, which forms projections within or which penetrates the root cells and they colonize within the cells of the plant. This is an endomycorrhizal fungus which shows the hyphae with the rounded spores which are formed from the hyphae. So endomycorrhiza are crucial in phosphate nutrition of plants, and many forms of grass and crop plants are successfully growing with the help of such symbiotic associations. They carry out transfer of nutrients, mainly phosphorus and zinc, along with sulfur, from the soil to the cells of the root cortex. Some fungal members like Glomus, Gigaspora, Acaulospora, Sclerocystis and Endogone are examples for intracellular obligate fungal endosymbionts. The commonest genus appears to be Glomus, which has several species distributed in soil normally. In the pictures below, we can see arbuscules and vesicles. So these are arbuscules which penetrate into the root cells. This is the root cell, and this is the fungal hyphae, and the dark cluster is arbuscule which penetrates into the root cells. This is clearly seen in the second image, where we can see intracellular hyphae and arbuscules which penetrates and grows within the plant cells. There are also vesicles seen within the cells. An enlarged image of the vesicle is seen here, and this helps in storing the nutrients. So these are vesicles, and these are cluster of hyphal cells known as arbuscules. Another biofertilizer is silicate solubilizing bacteria. A few members are capable of degrading silicates and aluminum silicates as part of the normal metabolic activities. In this process, several organic acids are produced, and these have a dual role in silicate weathering. It supplies protons to the medium and promote hydrolysis of certain organic acids like citric acid, oxalic acid, keto acids, and hydroxycarbolic acid. These ionized acids form complex with cations. It promotes the removal and retention in the medium in a dissolved state. The studies conducted with Bacillus species isolated from the soil of granite crusher yard showed that the bacterium is capable of dissolving several silicate minerals. So, this SSB helps in solubilizing the silica, which is otherwise not available for the plants. The examination of various materials, man-made materials like cement, agro inputs, etc., exhibited silicate solubilizing bacteria, and various studies are being conducted to analyze the efficiency of this SSB to solubilize silica present in such compounds. Soil inclusion studies with such species with red soil, clay soil, sand and hilly soil showed that the organisms multiplied in all the types of soils and released more silica than normal. And the availability of silica has increased the growth efficiency in plants and also the product yield. Combining such bacteria with silicate containing residues also resulted in increased plant growth and grain yield. This enhancement is due to the increased dissolution of silica and nutrients from the soil, and such increased amounts help the plants to grow better. So these are the two types of biofertilizers normally used. We shall discuss about others in the following session. Thank you.